I've been working on for the past few hours. And in my looking for different folders, I ran into this little thing that I called PHP Notes, and I'm opening up in three different browsers just to check how it works, and it looks like it works pretty good in all three. You've got your Google Chrome here on the left, you've got your Opera in the middle, and then here on the right you've got your Firefox. And what you have is, if I could put these all the way up, I guess they do show a little bit differently. It's like, let's click on the top one. Here we have a bunch of links over here to the left, and when you click it, you get a little uh, description, and then inside this text area here you get a note, and it's the same thing across the board. Then if I go down, it automatically pops up what the title is: rules regarding variable naming, rules regarding variable naming. And in here you've got this little area where you've got notes, just a little section of notes just about that one little thing. Same thing here. It just automatically pops you to a certain place. And you go further down, same thing. Just pops you to a new section of notes, and if you need more space, there's a scroll bar that lets you scroll down further. And I go down, and you get the point. And actually, this scroll bar over here is for all the different notes that I started taking on PHP at one point, but this must be like months ago because I really don't remember all this stuff. But I thought it was a nice little web page design to keep all your notes kind of concise, since it takes you straight to this area quickly and you don't have to do a whole lot of scrolling. The only scrolling you have to do is what's on the inside, which is directly revolving around whatever the title is. So I'm going to go out of this. I just showed you how it looks in three different browsers, and I'm going to right click notes.html and go over the code in case you want to do something like this yourself for notes or recipes or journal or whatever you want to use it for. I guess what I could do is I could at least have it running side by side with a window. Let's launch it in Chrome. Okay, let me right click here and have them side by side. Okay, so you got your HTML, your head, your title, PHP notes, which you see right up here. And we have a style in the head. For the body, I have margin 0 pixels auto, padding 0 pixels. I have a div with an ID of left, and we'll get to that when we get to the body. And here's all the different styles for that. I have a width of 30%, display inline, float left, height 95%, background color tan, overflow scroll, padding 10 pixels. Then I have a div with an ID of right. That has a width of 60%, display inline, float right, height 95%, background color beige, overflow scroll, and padding 10 pixels. I have a field set with a border of thick maroon solid, margin bottom 80 pixels. I have an OL, which is an ordered list, and you see the numbering right here, and all these things in here obviously are list items. It has a margin left of negative 20 pixels. Let me move up a little bit. I have a list item style. Font size is 20 pixels, border bottom is thin black solid, and padding is 10 pixels. A list item hover, background color white, so as you hover you see the background becomes white. A, text decoration none. That means that any of these links don't have a line underneath. The lines that you do see in between those, I believe, are bottom borders, border bottoms or something, but they're not text decoration of underline to the link itself. So for the A, which is a link tag, text decoration of none. For the P, which is a paragraph tag, we have a font size of 20 pixels, I have a tag that I've named container, which I gave border thick black solid, height 95%, width 96%, float left, padding 10 pixels, background color gray, and a minimum width of 520 pixels. And we're almost done with the styles. I have a style for the text area, resize none, width 100%, height 95%, padding 10 pixels, border 20 pixels, gray inset, font size 20 pixels, and margin bottom 20 pixels. And then HR, I have a horizontal rule here, which is strange. Let's see, where could I possibly have that? I am not seeing a horizontal rule with a height of 20 pixels, a color of red, and a margin of 20 pixels. So that may be something that I thought I was going to incorporate, but I don't see that. So we'll have to see when I get into the body. End of style, end of head. Here's the body. Here's that container that I created. Right here's the style for it. There's the opening container, and I guess if I go down here I'll see the closing container somewhere. This is a lot of notes. Yeah, end of div, end of container, end of body, end of HTML. So this container tag holds everything in it. Alright, this is one very, very long HTML file. Here's the div ID of left. And that has, and I'm not going to go down and find the bottom, I'm just going to read. Field set, legend, syntax guidelines. So you see that the legend says syntax guidelines right up here, and the field set has this border around it, this reddish or maroonish border. That's a field set, and the caption on the top of the field set is called a legend. Here's the OL, which stands for ordered list, and from this purple tag to this purple tag, that is the A link. So that, well, I'll just read through it. A ref equals, and you have in double quotes #1. Okay, and this is a little bit different than anything I've done before. Instead of linking to another web page like next.html or http://www.myway.com, it's not pointing to another page, it's not pointing to a website, it's pointing to this thing called #1, and we'll get to that in a minute, because as you click on any of these links, you see it's taking us to specific places. See, specific places. That #1 and #2, those are IDs that are what's actually causing the linkage here in this very, very, very long web page. Alright, so let's go to the next. This rules regarding variable. Well, let me finish the first one. A ref equals #1, and then you have this list item inside of there. PHP script tags. PHP script tags. By having the A on the outside of the list item, then as soon as I hit the highlight here and the background for the list item highlights white, I can click on that and it will actually be a part of the link. Whereas if I had the list item tags on the outside of these A links, instead of list item being on the inside, they would be outside here, outside of this, and outside of this. You would have to make sure that your mouse is touching the text, but by having the list items nested inside of the A tags, the entire list item highlights and you can click there and it will take you to the link. The whole list item becomes nested inside the link, so therefore it becomes also the link, the clickable link. A ref equals #2 list item, and then the text inside of the list item, rules regarding variable naming. So that's this one right here. A ref equals #3 or #3 list item. PHP ignores white space. PHP ignores white space, and when you click it, it takes you right there. And so on and so forth. We just have all of these, and they each have an A ref that is pointing to with some type of number. So all the way to pound 11, if I go down here, you see that this first field set stops at pound 11, and aref equals pound 11, li reserved words in PHP, end li, so end the list item, end the link, end the OL for the ordered list, and end the field set. So that's why you see here syntax guidelines is the legend for this field set, and all these little sections are parts of notes that revolve around syntax guidelines, and then it stops. And then the next field set is going to have a legend that talks about something a little different. Check PHP information, and there's only one little note on that. So when we go down to the next field set here, the legend says check PHP information, which I just read to you. End of legend, you have a OL set of OL tags, and in this ordered list you only have one link, and we're going to follow along in our little numeric order we've got going on. Aref equals pound 12. The list item says check PHP information, and list item, end link, end ordered list, end field set. So that does this whole thing right here. And when I click on this, it goes straight to check PHP information, and there's a bunch of notes inside this little scrollable area that just revolves around checking the PHP information. And we go down a little further. Of course, we have another field set. This legend says data types, and there's quite a few bits of information on data types. And notice also every time we start a new ordered list, it starts at 1 again. So you know for data types we have 12 sections of notes regarding data types. So I go down, there's the ordered list, and we start where we left off. So we left off on pound 12 here. We're starting off with pound 13, pound 14, all the way to pound 24. And they each have their own little titles. End of ordered list, end of field set. The next field set says legend variables. Let's move down. And there it is, legend variables for that field set. Ordered list, there's only 2 links in there. List items that are surrounded by links. Variables, see? Go straight to variables. PHP variable types, go straight to that, and all the notes inside of there about that. We're almost done with this part. Here's the next field set. Whoa. Legend constants, ordered list, 1, 2, 3 links for that. Constants, magic constants, and predefined constants. Constants, magic constants, and predefined constants. Go further down, and this is the last. It's not all of the notes, but it's where I stopped whatever day I did this actual page. I got tired. It's a lot of stuff I did. Field set, legend, understanding arrays. Understanding arrays is the legend. Ordered list, there's 1 link. Understanding arrays. Understanding arrays. 2, array syntax basics, array syntax basics, there's the notes for that. Associative arrays, multidimensional arrays, array functions, associative arrays, multidimensional arrays, arrays functions. Okay, and you still see that the pattern isn't changing. We're changing these hrefs to the next pound number up so that everything stays in a sequence. Okay, there's the end of the ordered list, the end of the field set, the end of that div, the div with the ID of left. So this is the ID of left over here on the left side. Now we've got a div with an ID of right. Obviously, we're going to be dealing with this little section over here on the right hand side. H2, if I go back to the beginning, PHP script tags, okay? H2 is the header with the second level. H1, this text would be a little bit bigger, but I went down to the H2, a little smaller. And so H2 has an ID equal to 1. ID equal 1 is what pound 1 represents. So this that says PHP script tags in this header, because it's got this ID of 1 here, if I go back up to this top, right here, pound 1, when we click on this, it's forcing us to go from this up here, PHP script tag, it's forcing the page to go quickly all the way to ID equals 1 in this div ID of right. So it goes straight to this H2 header tag, which is right here. And there's a text area. Basically, what's typed in the text area is what you see in the text area. So we have the opening PHP symbol. We have a note that just says whatever script you're going to put is going to go in here, and the ending PHP symbol and the end of the text area. So you see the same thing right in this text area right here. Okay, now we go to H2, ID equals 2, rules regarding variable naming. Another text area. And if I click this, here's the rules regarding variable naming, which is directing us to this ID equals 2 when we click on here. And the text area has this little batch of information, which is what you see right here. And then we've got the PHP symbol. We've got some coding inside, and the ending PHP symbol, and the end of the text area. Okay, so everything in between the text area tags, all of this shows up in here, which is our text area that has this nice thick border. We go down further, H2, we have another header. Let's click it. Header up here, PHP ignores white spaces. PHP ignores white spaces. Another text area. This time we have H2 with an ID of 3. So when we click on here and the href equals pound 3, it's going to jump right to this part in this page, text area. You can minify blah blah blah. You can minify blah blah blah. The PHP tags opening and closing, and this junk in the middle. PHP tags opening and closing, and this junk in the middle, and the end of the text area. And it just goes on and on and on. H2, ID 4, the title inside of the H2 tag, which you see right here when I click on it. The text area with all this, semicolon tells the compiler blah blah blah, semicolon tells the compiler blah blah blah, PHP symbols, the stuff inside of it, and a text area. So everywhere we've got notes that apply to a specific subtitle are going to go inside the text area, and then it's going to output right there. You just keep going on and on until you just get sick and tired of writing notes. Just keep putting a new H2 with a new subtitle, a new text area with the new notes inside. Go to the next one. It's the next subtitle, another text area, more notes inside the text area, another H2 header tag that it's a subtitle, another text area. Everything in the text area is the notes. And I just kept going on all the way to the end, which H2 ID equals 34, array functions. If I go all the way down here, you'll see array functions up here. H2 ID equals 34, array functions, end of that header tag, there's that last text area, and you can see that everything in the text area is everything that you see right here. Alright, after the very last piece of notes, I ended the div. This was the div with the ID of right. I ended the container. The container is holding everything together. I ended the body, and I ended the HTML. So it's just a simple way to reduce the scrolling. It kind of focuses. Using the field set and legend, I get to put a topic, and then each one of these list items, links that have list items inside, each one of these are numbered, and each one of these are basically a subtitle underneath the main title. Understanding Arrays is the main title I'm using as the legend, and all these list items are subtitles that have to do with this main thing. So it's kind of a nice little way to organize your notes. And instead of doing major scrolling, I mean, you're still doing a lot of typing, you're still doing a lot of scrolling, but everything is in one page. And then when you want to come and do some more notes, you just have to come to the bottom of this and copy and paste this again. So like, let's say copy this, come underneath this text area and right click and paste it, and just change this from ID 34 to ID 35. And wow, I'm getting tired. Okay, so that'll be something new. And text area, the notes for that would be, I've been messing around for hours on end today. I need to go to bed. So that'll be in the text area. Okay, now I have to add this ID of 35 with wow, I'm getting tired to this, actually probably to a new field set, because this has nothing to do with array functions. Okay, so let's go all the way back up to these things. Alright, so this is the end of this field set. So let's start a new field set. Field set legend, end legend, end field set. And what did I call that? I try to like to keep these all the same. Wow, I'm getting tired. That's what I have inside of my H2. Wow, I'm getting tired. Copy that. Go back up. Go back up. Where is it? And put that in my legend. Or really, I probably should have put it, I don't know, there's only going to be one thing here. Ordered list, end ordered list. Let me take one of these. I can just copy and paste this and change it. Okay, so this was href equals pound 34. This is going to be pound 35. And sleepy me. I don't know. Let's see how that looks. Let's see if that follows. Alright, so we have this. Go all the way down. Wow, I'm getting tired. Sleepy me. Understanding arrays. When I clicked understanding arrays, actually, this is what matched the header of 2. So I'm going to change this to here so that that matches the way everything else is. I want to be consistent. And then under the legend, maybe I'll change that to sleepy me. So go down here. This last little field set has the legend of sleepy me, and when you click wow, I'm getting tired, that list, that text inside of the list item, wow, I'm getting tired, is going to match the H2 header tag. It's going to be identical, because all the rest of these, when I click on here, the list item text and the header text are identical, so I want to keep with that same flow. So sleepy me is just sleepy me, and if I have all kind of different reasons to talk about being tired, then I can do this while I'm getting tired, another one about tired, and whatever. You see, it's kind of stupid, but I'm just showing you how this works. I've been messing around for hours on end today. I need to go to bed. So like I said, you could use this as a journal. You could have each one of these legends be a week or a day, and put the date up here. And then every little time you put a little something in here, you give it a different caption. And then you make sure that your H2 is identical so that it matches. So you have that consistency. And then in the text area, you write whatever your blah 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 is. Besides journal, each one of this might be chicken. And then each one of these might be a different chicken recipe. You might have 7 different chicken recipes. So every time you make a field set, you would put the main caption of what it's about up here, and then each of these sub captions or subtitles would be its own recipe or its own exercise or its own journal notation or its own notes for a different subject or whatever the heck you want it to be. Alright, so that was that field set, that legend, that ordered list, so that you get the numbering. If I change this from an ordered list to an unordered list, to a UL, obviously you see the difference. All of these are OLs for ordered lists, so you see all the numbering. And this you only see a bullet. That's the difference between a UL and an OL. OLs for ordered numbers, ULs for unordered, so you can put bullets or discs or squares or even little shapes that you make in paint or whatever, little small images. Alright, so there's the end of the div for all the stuff on the left, the div for the right, all the H2s with text areas, and again, end div, end container, end body, end HTML. And with that, I've been messing around for hours on end today, and I really need to go to bed. Plus it's 2:05 in the morning, so what the heck.